Okay, so when you first go into create a new project, you're going to get a fairly confusing window. I would recommend you select C#, Windows, and all project types. And up here, I would type in console. You'll get two options that come up, C# console app and console app.NET framework. Choose the .NET framework, whatever name you like. Alrighty, so this is our task. This is our task here. We need to write a method called SumMe that will accept two integer inputs. And the method should add those two integers together and return the sum, sorry about that, and return the sum as a value. In the main method, pass the numbers 5 and 6 to SumMe method and print out the result. So whenever we're creating a method, we need to use this pattern, right? We need to use output, method name, and then the inputs go in the bracket. So what we really need is to define something that called SumMe. So you can see here, that's the name there. The two inputs are over here in the brackets, and it returns the sum as a value. So it's returning a number, and so we put int here. Okay, so this line of code here is what we need to add to our program to define a method. So let's go and do that now. So you can see normally when you start up, you'll get all this code. You can just ignore that. We'll slowly learn what it all means. So we want to add a method, and we want to basically, let me see if I can pull that up again. So we want, check this on the screen, maybe not. So we want this in code, right? So int SumMe, and then int x, int y. So let's put that in code now. For reasons you don't need to understand at the moment, you prefix it with static. And then we had int, and then SumMe. Remember, everything is case sensitive. Open brackets, int x, comma, int y. All right, so this is the definition of the method. And now, pardon me, now we want to define the contents. And so we put in the squiggly braces. And we get a squiggly line here. Now, don't be too worried about every single squiggly line. This one is saying 161, not all codes return a value. So what it's saying here is that we said this thing should return an int, but we haven't got a return here. So don't worry about all the squiggly lines. You can't solve them all straight away. So what do we want to do? We want to take x and y, we want to add them together and return the addition of them, the sum of them. It's fairly easy to do. You can go int z, and then you could go z equals x plus y. So x and y will contain the two numbers that's passed to SumMe. And so now our answer is in z, and we can do return z. And so that's going to return the sum of those two numbers. And so what we do in the main now is we can call this method, right? So we haven't changed the main at all yet. We've worked on our method first. So now what we can do is we can go int a, for example, equals SumMe, and it knows about that. So I can go tab, I can open the brackets, and if we go back to our definition here, whoop, that's not very good. How can I do this? If we go back to our definition, you can see we've got to pass a 5 and a 6. So let's do that. Pass a 5 and a 6. So what's happening here is that for C# to work out what this equals, it needs to call the method SumMe. It needs to pass a 5 and a 6. The 5 goes into the x, the 6 goes into the y, that goes into the calculations, and it will return a z. So that z will come back into the a. And then you can just do the console.writeLine. And the answer was and the variable A. And that's the solution to what we were trying to do today. Yeah, not too hard. Just remember to read the question carefully and try and break it down so that you can work out what stuff you can put into methods. That's how I would suggest you go about things. So have a go of that, try and type it out yourself and make sure it works.